Hi everyone, welcome back to what I'm teaching this week. In this video, we're gonna be talking all about 3rd grade, specifically talking about Irish music is what we're working on, and we are working on half notes and introducing half notes. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit stressed when I started planning this lesson because I looked at my calendar and realized that since I only see my kids for a week at a time, so I see them for a week at a time and then it's about a month till I see them later, 3rd grade has more classes than the other grade levels, and so I only have this lesson plan and then one more lesson plan, and then there's like an extra 2 weeks where frankly we'll just do fun stuff, and then we're done with the whole school year. So that was a little terrifying, but alas, also very exciting. So that, you know, I just want to share that, make you feel a little bit better about, you know, where we are since it is officially March. Because it is March, we are doing Irish music. I typically always do Irish music, especially with my 3rd graders, especially in March because I live in Savannah, and I don't know if you know, but Savannah has one of the biggest St. Patrick's Day celebrations. We're like number 3 in the country, I think, and then typically in the top 10 in the world, although, you know, those things change every year. So, I like to, you know, do Irish music because it's very relevant. The kids are, you know, like thinking about it. They go to the parade. Sometimes I see some of them before and some of them after St. Patrick's Day. And so we can kind of make that connection. And also I just try to do music from all around the world. So all of that being said, we're doing Irish music, we're doing half notes, and we're also doing a little more practicing with law. So let's get into it. Now, the first thing we do on Monday is I'll ask them, I'm like, hey, I'll be like, okay, we're gonna listen to a song and I need a couple of people to give me some movements. And so they'll be like, oh, I want to clap, I want to snap, I want to twirl, or whatever. And I'll write them down on the board, and on the board I just write like instrumental. Actually I put it on my Google slide because I was like, oh hey, that would be smart. So I put like instrumental and then verse 1, verse 2, and chorus. And so I just write down what they are, and then we listen to the song, Tell My Mom by, I like the Gaelic Storm version of it because it's so dancey and fun. And we listen to it and we just do whatever they said. So whatever they, you know, picked for the instrumental part, we do every time there's an instrumental. Whatever they pick for the chorus, we do every time there's a chorus, and we go straight through. Afterwards, I'm like, great, this song is a song from Ireland, and, you know, we'll make the connection of like, oh, Ireland, St. Patrick's Day, Ireland, Irish music, like all of those things, and talk through where Ireland is. You know, I always try to show them on the map, you know, where we live in comparison to where Ireland is. I love when things are on the Atlantic Ocean because then I can talk about like, when you go to the ocean, you go to Tybee and you put your feet in the water, on the other side of that ocean is, you know, Ireland, or you know, sometimes it's on the other side of that ocean, there's Morocco, or whatever it is. But I just think it's really fun when they, you know, we have like the ocean is what's separating us, and then I usually do a little like close up so that they can see it a little bit better as well. And then I'll show them a couple of slides out of my Ireland virtual field trip, talking about just like some pictures of Ireland so they can see and just kind of, you know a couple of things before we get like super into it. So that's a lot of fun. I have all of the Irish stuff we're doing, by the way, is in my virtual field trip to Ireland. So I will link that down below. I made the virtual field trip last year out of all the things that we normally do, and so then this year it was really nice to just be like, oh, let me just pull all those things that we were gonna do anyway. So then I'm like, all right, we're gonna look at some Irish instruments, and we check out a couple of different Irish instruments, including the bodhrán, and which is a drum, like a frame drum kind of thing, and the penny whistle. We look at the Celtic harp and just a couple of those different things. Watch a quick YouTube video for each one, usually just like 20 seconds of each one because I just want them to hear it, and then we move on. And then I'm like, great, we're going to do some instruments, but first we need to remember our So Me and La. And so I throw up on the board. Now, full disclosure, when I'm filming this, I have been using actually the Valentine's Day Google Slides game for So Me and La, but by the time you get this out and it's available for you to see, I should have my St. Patrick's Day one instead. So I'm going to tell you about that one. So the St. Patrick's Day Google Slides games is a Solfege game where the kids look and they see a pattern. So it'll say like S for so and me, M for me, and all that. And then there's 2 different notes patterns on the staff, and so they have to decide if it's, you know, number 1 or number 2. And the easiest way to do this, honestly, is to throw it up on the board and have them show me, is it number 1 or is it number 2? And this one is all find the leprechaun themed, and so if they get their answer right, then it's like, congratulations, you found a leprechaun. And so it's just a really fun time. So usually we just go through like 2 or 3 of those. It's just to be like, oh, I remember what La is. And as we go through it, we'll also be like, hey, is La on a liner in his face? Is me on a liner in his face? Oh, look how far away from each other they are, and all of that good stuff. And then what we do is I pull out, I did not bring anything home, by the way, so I'm behind on the outtake, but, and then I grabbed some shamrocks that are my super simple composition activities. So I have solfege ones and then also rhythm ones, and I just grabbed the solfege ones. I just have So Me and La printed out, and they just get a whole bunch of little shamrocks with So Me and La written on them, and they make a pattern and then they play it on the xylophone. So I just throw up on the board, okay, A is gonna be La, So is gonna be G, Me is gonna be E today. And so I let them either get in groups, and if they work in groups, they can work on the xylophone or work by themselves on the glockenspiels, because I just have some who prefer to work by themselves. I prefer to work by myself, so I totally understand. And then there's others who really thrive in a group environment, so I like giving them the option, so they can if they want to, or they can do it by themselves. Either way, doesn't matter to me, but they make a pattern and then they play it on their xylophone. And then next time they come, I want to have, like, you know, actual notes on the staff instead of just it being like me, So, and La, and getting used to like looking at the notes on the staff and playing. So that is Monday. On Tuesday, the kids come in and we're starting with the song Galway Piper. So for this one, we do a little dance that I totally made up, so it's not very authentic, but it's fun. All right, so I was trying to show you the dance, but honestly, I just don't have room in here to get you far back enough that you can see. So I'm gonna pop up a reel that I made last year talking about this song so that you can see it here. Here is the dance that we're doing at the Galway Piper. Every person in the nation, nor of great or humble station, holds in highest estimation piping Tim of Galway. Loudly he can play or low, he will move you fast or slow, touch your heart or stir your toe, piping Tim of Galway. So first we just start with the dance, then I add the song, and we'll do that 2 or 3 times, and then we'll do a little faster and a little faster and a little faster. And then after that, we will sit down and I'm like, great, this is an Irish song, like the song we learned yesterday, that's also an Irish song. And then we go over the words to Tell My Mom. And specifically, I just teach them the chorus, and so we just go, I go, you go, I go, you go, you know, by rote. And then I'll really make an emphasis on the long notes is what I tell them. And so we'll be like, tell my mom when I go home, and I have them do like the thing. This is our half note thing, our thing, to show that that's like a long note. So we'll go over that a couple times. We'll listen to the song, and I just have them keep the beat on all the parts that aren't the chorus. And on the chorus, then they try their best to sing along with the words. And if you don't know this song, I guess I should sing it for you. It goes, tell my mom when I go home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. They pulled my hair and they stole my comb, but that's alright when I go home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is the belle of Belfast City. She is courting 1, 2, 3, please come and tell me who is she. After we sing through it, then I'll also show them some of the vocabulary so that they can see a couple of the words, because like it says she is handsome, so we always have to talk about, like, in some countries they call boys and girls handsome, even though in our country we typically just say that for girls. Courting is another word for dating. Belle is a beautiful girl. And then I show them where Belfast City is and a couple of pictures of Belfast City so that they you know, just know what it is. After that, I'm like, great, so we did all those long notes, and now we're gonna look at a song that we listened to a long time ago that's not Irish, but we're gonna listen to it anyway. And this one also has some of those long notes, and so I pull up actually in the Hall of the Mountain King that we did all the way back in October. And so I just have this little Google Slides. Eventually I will have a whole lesson pack for you for in the Hall of the Mountain King, but will that be before I finish this video? Probably not. So I guess subscribe and keep your eyes open. Oh, actually a better thing would be to follow me on Instagram or join my email list, because those are people who actually like send out, you know, updates and stuff. Anyway, that being said, so I'll show them the rhythm and I'll be like, who can read this rhythm for me? And so someone will read it, and then we'll go to the next one. And I'm like, oh, what do you think that bat is? They're like, oh, the bat is the long. And I'm like, great, when we get to the bat, just say long. And so we'll go through that, and then I have them play the 8th notes on their legs, the tas, the quarter notes together, and then the half notes like that. And so the rhythm is actually really simple. It's ti 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 ta ti ti ta ti ti ta ti 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 ta, and that's the main thing. There's a couple of times that it switches a little bit, but that's like most of the thing. So we'll practice that. I'll play the song and we'll, you know, play along with it, and then I will get the rhythm sticks out and have them play along with that. Now after we finish that, then I'll be like, great, let's see if you can read this rhythm, and so I'll show them this rhythm. And then I'm like, well, let's see if you can read this rhythm, and so I'll show them this rhythm. And I'm like, what if you can read this rhythm? And then we have this one, and I'm like, oh, what's that squirrel? And they're like, oh, that must be the long. And I'm like, yes, it's the long. And I'm like, oh, great, this is actually a song. And so here is all of it together, and I have them play the whole rhythm, so the whole song. And then I'm like, great, can you play it while I sing it? And so usually we will do, and so usually I'll pick up the sticks after we do In the Hall of the Mountain King, and then we'll do this just patting our legs. And so this is the song, Let Us Chase the Squirrel. And it goes, let us chase the squirrel up the hickory, down the hickory. Let us chase the squirrel down the hickory tree. And so we'll sing it a couple of times, have them play along with it, and then I'll show them the beats and have them point to the beats, and I'll make a really big deal about how that last one is 2 beats with just 1 word. And that is it. I wanted to play the Let Us Chase the Squirrel game, but we didn't have time, so I guess we're gonna have to do it on Friday. But I'll explain it to you. There's a couple of different Let Us Chase the Squirrel games. The one that I am the most interested in is similar to like London Bridge, but instead of having one, you know, bridge, you have a bunch of kids making trees, and then the other kids are squirrels, and they have to go find a tree to sit under. Now, because of, you know, just like COVID, and also just they're 3rd graders, so it's kind of kiddish for them, I think. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. We're gonna use hula hoops, and so I'm gonna have the kids hold on to either side of the hula hoop. That also gives them a little more space, so that, you know, if a kid running in, it doesn't like run in and plow someone over. And so you sing the song, and then at the end of the song, all the squirrels have to go find a new tree, and then whoever does not find a new tree would be out in the middle. Now logistically, it's kind of complicated to try to do, like, musical chair it and like have them out. So I'm just gonna have the kids who don't find a tree or in the middle, and then the rest are in it. I might even do like a scorecard where like every time you find a tree you get a point, but I haven't decided yet. Sometimes I like to try things and then just see if it works or not. So that's kind of where I am. If you've ever done this with older kids, I would love your insight down below. I've really been struggling this year because after COVID, like, we're behind where we normally would be, and like, you know, it's not the end of the world, but typically I would have taught this in 2nd grade already. And so I'm like, all of the things I usually use for half note are like ba ba black sheep, and like that's just a little bit little kiddish for 3rd graders. So I've been trying to really experiment this year with every grade level and trying to figure out like what's gonna work for them. All of that to say, on Wednesday the kids come in and we start with Galway Piper again. This time we'll start and we go faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and see how fast they can do it. Then after that we go through Tell Me Ma again, and this time I have them add the hand drums, because hand drums are really similar to bodhran, so we look at those up on the screen and talk about them. And then what we do is they walk in a circle and tap the beat on all the parts except the chorus. On the chorus, then they stop and then they sing the chorus, and then they go back to walking. And every once in a while I'll yell out switch, or sometimes I do like a maraca or a chime or something that is their signal to switch and go the opposite way, just to, you know, switch it up and make it fun. And then after that, I have them take those hand drums and play a bunch of different rhythms. So we start with a couple of the ones we already have, and then some with these squirrels that are the longs. And then we'll go through Let Us Chase the Squirrel again. And this time I have them, and then I put the instruments away. And so then we'll look at Let Us Chase the Squirrel, and we'll talk through specifically. I have this picture with like the rhythms on the beats. And so we'll talk through, okay, what are the rhythms we have? So we have our quarter note, 1 sound on 1 beat. Okay, how many sounds is 8th notes? 2. Okay, they're on 1 beat. And then I'm like, okay, what about this one down here at the bottom? What is this with the, you know, squirrel and the 2 hearts? And they're like, I don't know. And so somebody will eventually be like, oh, well, it's 1 word on 2 beats. And I'm like, great, it's 1 word on 2 beats. Is there something we know that's 1 word on 2 beats? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, let's see. And so I'll show them the rhythms we already know, and we'll go through those and talk about, again, quarter note is 1 sound on 1 beat. Eighth note is 2 sounds on 1 beat. Quarter rest is no sounds on 1 beat. And so then I'll be like, do any of these have 2 beats? And they're like, no. I'm like, great. So our new rhythm is this one right here. It's called a half note, and it gets 2 beats to itself. So it is long. It's just 1 sound, but it's a long sound. So it's long. And so we'll look at that. And then we have a couple of rhythms that we just practiced real quick with, like, here's a rhythm, here's a rhythm, here's a rhythm. And then after we go through a couple of them, we go through a new song. So I'm like, okay, see if you can read the rhythm to this. And they read the whole rhythm to the whole thing. And then after they read the rhythm, then I'll share with them the song, which is Duerme mi tesoro, which goes, Duerme mi tesoro, duerme mi bien, que los angelitos te miran también. This is perfect because it's so mi and la on top of it having a half note in it. And so we can go through that. I think it's a Puerto Rican lullaby. Anyway, after all of that, then on Thursday, if I have a Thursday lesson, again, I don't typically have 5-day whole weeks, because like last week we had testing one day. This week we're gonna have testing again one day. And you know, we just have a lot of that kind of stuff going on. But if we have a 5-day week, then the kids come in and we are doing a like rhythm play along that has a half note. Have I picked one? No, because I'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We'll go over Duerme mi tesoro again and talk about the so-mi-and laws of it and play Kaboom, which is one of my favorite games, where the kids get little cards and they pull out the card and sing the pattern on it. And then if they get it right, they get to keep it. If they get it wrong, they put it back. And then if they get one that says Kaboom, then they put them all back. And then we're gonna end with Rattlin Bog, which I'll explain in a second, because we're gonna do that Friday, because we always do Rattlin Bog because it is a classic. So that being said, on Friday, the kids come in and we are doing a Irish dance tutorial video, which is hilarious. It's also great because you can just throw the video up and let them, you know, go for it while you drink your coffee, because I have them first thing in the morning, so I'm still half asleep. And I will link it down below. It just is one of those, like, it will teach the kids how to Irish dance. Really, really fun. After that, then we'll go over Duerme mi tesoro and do another rhythm play along. Again, I have not decided what we're gonna do, so I guess I should probably decide. And after that, we're doing the song Rattlin Bog. If you don't know the song, it is one of my all-time favorites. And typically I do this with all like 3rd grade and under every year, but you know, the last couple of years have been wonky, so we've gotten into not gotten in, it's just been a disaster. Anyway, Rattlin Bog is a cumulative song, and in it you talk about all the things that are in the bog. And so the first thing is, it says, the chorus goes, oh, roll the Rattlin Bog, bog down in the valley, oh. Oh, roll the Rattlin Bog, bog down in the valley, oh. And I have them do action. So we do, in that bog, there was a tree, a rare tree, a rattling tree, and the tree in the bog, and the bog down in the valley, oh. And you go back to the chorus. And then you have, there's a limb on the tree in the bog, and the bog down the valley, oh. And you get to the last one is, typically, there's a flea on a feather, on a bird, in the egg, in the nest, on the twig, on the branch, on the limb, on the tree, in the bog, and the bog down in the valley. And so at the end it'll be like, and on that feather there was a flea, a rare flea, a rattling flea, flea on the feather, and the feather on the bird, and the bird, and the egg, and the egg, and the nest on the twig, and the twig on the branch, and the branch on the tree, and the tree in the bog, bog down in the valley, oh. Oh, roll the Rattlin Bog, bog down in the valley, oh. Oh, roll the Rattlin Bog, bog down in the valley, oh. So we'll sing through it, and I usually play this on my ukulele, and I have the kids pat their legs on the chorus, and then on the verses they do all the actions to show all the stuff. So this is one of my favorites. It's also included with all the visuals in the virtual field trip, so you can check that out to help you, you know, show the kids what all is on the tree and the bog and all the things. After that, then we are cashing in our points for game time. My kids earn points all week long in order to have minutes of game time, so we cash those in on Friday, and we will probably be playing the Let Us Chase the Squirrel game, since we did not get to play it the other day. Anyway, that is all that my 3rd graders are working on this week. So if you found that helpful or interesting, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, because I do one of these for all of my classes every single month. So there'll, you know, there's a 1st grade March and a 1st grade February, and I did them all last year, although last year we were mostly online. But you can still check them out and see, you know, different ideas and stuff like that. So if you found this helpful, make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button. I would love to know what your favorite Irish music activities are. And oh, I have a whole video about Irish music activities, so I will link that down below as well. Anyway, hopefully I remember all these links. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.